I'm Melissa.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome back to True Crime Thursday. Welcome back to Thursday. Welcome back to April.
Yeah, that's right. And we're recording this on April Fool's Day, so I don't know, maybe we're just joking. Maybe none of this is real.
We are also recording this on the day that we went to the moon.
Yeah, well, we left for the moon. We didn't get there yet. It's
We
funny
get
because
there.
they keep talking about Artemis, obviously, and
Yeah.
see where we live in Central Florida. You can just go outside and look up and see it. So we did. Maybe I'll drop a little bit of the video I took from the
Man,
house.
you were able to see it? We were looking up and I didn't see it. I don't know if there were too many clouds in the sky or what.
Yeah, you know what? You know what was lousy? There were clouds here, but we got to see some of it, like up to a point, and then it hit clouds on our end. But like 10 minutes later, the sky to the east was completely clear. It would have been like, could you have not held off for 10 minutes and done it then? But yeah, they keep saying that because it's the first woman and the first, I think it's person of color to go to the moon. They keep saying go
Yeah.
to the moon, but they're not really going, like they're going around the moon. I said, well, if you're going to say that, that's if I drive past the mall, it doesn't count as me going to the mall. You know, it's not the
Yeah,
same thing.
like if I drive past the mall, I'm
Yeah,
not going
yeah.
to the mall. I'm
And
just
also for them,
true.
how disappointing does it have to be that you get to go there, but you don't get to land, you know?
You're like,
You
oh,
just,
there it is.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're,
Back to
they're
Earth.
good.
Anyways,
Yeah.
back to Earth.
Yeah, but
They kept talking on the news too about how, like, this is just the beginning. We're gonna build hotels on the moon and
yeah,
like, okay, guys, slow down. We're just driving past it right now. Okay, like,
yeah.
easy on the taking over.
Yeah. Well,
You
apparently
know.
to get to Mars, we need a base on the moon. You can't get to Mars from
Uh,
here. You got to start at the moon. I don't,
no,
you know.
and then
I guess
and then boys go to Jupiter to get more stupider.
there we go.
Oh wait, I have a joke for you. I have a joke for you
Okay.
that I have a
Okay.
joke that just
This
to,
is not just to point out this is not our typical true crime episode, so it's a little more lighthearted. Go ahead.
yeah, true. Ada told me a joke and I was like, I gotta tell my dad that. He's gonna think it's so funny. Okay, so I'm American in the living room, but what are you in the bathroom?
European. Come on.
Oh, wow, he got it. No. Of
Come
course
on.
you got that one.
Come on. Step up your game. That's too easy.
That's funny. You were trying to
Yeah.
answer that before I even finished reading it.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
You can't slip a dad joke past me.
Right. King of the dad jokes.
So this week that joke is criminal. This week on our true crime episode, we wanted to talk about some more like they've all been mostly murder cases
Yeah.
or at least violent crime. In the case of some of
Yep.
the disappearances where we don't know what happened to them, we can't say they're murder cases. But
True.
this week I thought it might be nice to do to talk about some things that didn't involve murders, that involved other things, other crimes
Because true
that are
crime
pretty
is
high
more than
profile.
murders.
That's right. Exactly. It's because it's still true and crime.
True. It is true and
Uh,
crime. Criminal. Yeah.
So, did
True.
you want to start with what you found? I found a couple of good ones.
Yeah, me too. So the first one I'll talk about, because this one is kind of funny. It's a little short, but his name is Victor Lustig. Lustig. He is German, I believe. That's the German pronunciation, at least. So he was a he was a con artist from Austria-Hungary who undertook a criminal career that involved conducting scams across Europe and the United States during the early 20th century. He's widely regarded as one of the most notorious con artists of his time, and he's infamous for being the man who sold the Eiffel Tower twice for I think it was metal.
Oh, okay. For scrap
Scrap
metal
metal.
value. Okay. I was gonna say like who's looking to buy that?
He sold the Eiffel Tower twice for scrap metal. And
Wow.
then I must have just been like, just kidding. I don't actually even own it to sell it to you.
Or the people showed up with like tools to start cutting it apart, and somebody was like, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
So apparently in 1925, he traveled back to France. While he was staying in Paris, that's when he came upon a newspaper article that talked about problems faced maintaining the Eiffel Tower. This was in the 1925s, so things were a lot different then.
Yeah.
This would never go. It almost gave me an idea, but this would never go in 2025 or 26.
You'd have to aim a little lower than the Eiffel Tower. Maybe the I-4 eyesore you could do
Oh,
that with.
true, yeah. So, the Eiffel Tower began falling into disrepair, and the city was finding it increasingly expensive to maintain and repaint it. So, part of the article made a passing comment that overall public opinion on the monument would move towards calls for its removal, which was the key to convincing Lustig that using it as a part of his next con would be lucrative. So basically, he's seeing this article about like, hey, we can't afford to fix this Eiffel Tower. Other people are seeing it, and he said, wait, let me capitalize. Because back in the day, people loved reading article newspapers or articles in the newspaper.
Right.
So that's when he hired a forger to produce fake government stationery for him. Probably way easy to do in 1925. And once he was
Actually,
ready,
I feel like it was harder to do then than today because you had to, you hired a forger who was probably doing everything by hand versus today when you can find the form
AI.
online, print it out, and
True, and
all
I
that.
guess you can't just look online for a forger. He had to really like search the
That's
streets,
true. Yeah.
go off of
Yeah.
references, word of mouth references.
Yeah, there wasn't even Craigslist back then.
So once he was ready, he invited a small group of scrap metal dealers to a confidential meeting at an expensive hotel, where he identified himself to them as the Deputy Director General of the Telegraphs, Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. In the meeting, he convinced the men that the upkeep of the Eiffel Tower was becoming too much for Paris and that the French government wished for him to sell it for scrap metal. But because such a deal would be controversial and likely spark public outcry, nothing could be disclosed until all the details were thought out. So, yeah, this man was a huge con artist, and he did this twice.
Wow.
The last time he attempted to con another group of dealers that had managed to find a mark among them willing to buy the Eiffel Tower. The police were informed about the scam, and he fled to the U.S. to evade arrest.
Wow. That's crazy. So
Isn't that
was he
crazy?
ever arrested for it? If he
Let me. Oh,
fled to the
yes.
U.S.?
He was captured. His mistress, Billy May, learned that he was betraying her for a younger woman, and she decided to take revenge and placed an anonymous phone
Gosh.
call to the federal authorities.
There you go.
Uh,
I mean, if you can't trust a thief to not cheat on you, who can you trust? I don't understand.
that was on May 10th, 1935, so 10 years after he first started the scam, and he was arrested in New York and charged with counterfeiting. He
Wow.
openly admitted to his partner's involvement in the operation as well. And he died on March 9th, 1947. He contracted pneumonia and died 2 days later.
Yikes.
A lot of people died of pneumonia back in the day.
Yeah, they didn't have very good treatments for it.
So
It's still not something you want to get today because people
I
die
had
from it still
pneumonia
today.
back in high school, remember? I had to stay out of school.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So this is a funny, not funny, but like it's a fun little little blip. On his death certificate, his occupation was listed as apprentice salesman and counterfeiter.
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Apprentice
So
salesman encounter. Well, I guess yeah,
isn't
he
that
did
hilarious?
sell the Eiffel Tower twice. So
Twice. Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, see these are much more fun. These are fun criminals. So my first one anyway, and I had never heard of this, and it was more recent than yours, but not recent. Um, it was a theft at the Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum. And it's basically like one of the biggest heists, art heists in history.
Mhm.
Um, Happened in 1990. And some of the details of it are just kind of crazy. So it happened on March 18th of 1990 at 1:24 a.m. This was in Boston. Um, and two men dressed up as Boston police officers and went to the museum, and they buzz and tell the guard that they are there to respond to a disturbance. So they claim that there was something, that they got a call. The guard lets them in, which wasn't, he shouldn't have done that. That was against their protocols. And when the officers claim there's a warrant for his arrest, the guard, so they basically they handcuff the guards and then they duct tape them in the basement. The total time of the
My gosh.
theft was 81 minutes. Okay, but this sounds like a movie, right? Like as I'm
It
reading this, I'm like
does.
this sounds like this would have been a movie.
Like Leonardo
Um,
DiCaprio's for sure in it.
yeah, yeah. Um, but it says it took 81 minutes. They moved through the museum for about an hour and 20 minutes, 80 minutes. Um, they took 13 works of art, and basically they actually like cut frames off of the wall in some cases. Um, so
Damaged goods.
8:15, yeah, 8:15 the next morning, the next shift comes in, and they call the real police at that point because they find the guards that were there in the basement. By the way, do you think those guards lost their jobs?
A
Like,
100%.
and
Hundred
they should.
percent. And they should.
Yeah. And here's the pieces of art that were stolen. By the way, estimated value 500 million, over $500 million. Largest art theft in history. There were
Wow.
works by Rembrandt, including The Storm of the Sea of Galilee, um, his Only Seascape, works by Johann Vermeer, The Concert, and works by Edgar Degas, Chinese bronze beaker, a Napoleonic eagle finial. Um, so the security system recorded the entry, but no usable images of the thieves' faces. By the way, this is unsolved. They don't know who
What?
did this. Yeah. No alarms were sent to the police during the crime. Guards were not physically harmed. They were just, duct taped and handcuffed. Um, FBI has led the investigation for decades, but in 2013, the FBI publicly stated, oh, they identified the thieves, names not released publicly at the time, believed to be linked to New England organized crime. That's interesting.
Now it all
Artwork was
makes sense.
transported. Yeah, the artwork was transported through Connecticut and Philadelphia. No arrest has ever been made. None of the stolen artwork has been recovered as of today. Is that not crazy?
That reminds me of this show that I watched on Netflix. I can't think of the name of it, but it basically was like this rich family, very like organized crime type of family, and they were super super rich, but they have like generations of like passed down crime, and they like they're amazing at like breaking into places, like again very
Mm-hmm.
much professionals at it. And they have their getaway car, they have masks on the whole time, they wear their gloves, they do all the things that you're supposed to do. They break into jewelry stores, grab a bunch of jewelry, and then don't get caught. They just leave. No guard is like even paying attention. And then the one time that like there were guards in a place, on their getaway route that they didn't expect. One of the guards got killed, and it like created this whole uproar, and they had to throw away all the jewelry. But like in a
Oh
case
wow.
where like the guards weren't there, they would just resell the jewelry on the low, and nobody ever like found out. But I would assume like artwork is a lot different to
Yeah, I
resell.
mean, especially
Like,
authentic like
yeah,
Rembrandts and that, you would think, somebody. I mean, unless there's like, I'm sure there's a black market for that kind of stuff where they could be selling
true.
it. The interesting thing is the museum offered a $10 million reward for information leading to the recovery, 500 million plus worth of art, and they're offering a $10 million reward. That's doesn't quite seem right, but it does make me wonder, like, what did happen with it? Did they sell it, on the black market? If it's an organized crime family, is it just sitting in somebody's house, hanging on the wall in somebody's house?
I don't think
Um,
so. I think they would definitely I don't know.
yeah,
I would think that they would get they're going through all that to resell it
yeah.
and get
But I
money.
mean, I feel
Like,
like an art collector, like who would want that kind of art, like wouldn't want to be in. I don't know. I don't know.
well, if there's a black market for it, then they would sell it to someone
Right.
who sells it outside of that. And
True.
it
True.
never gets tracked down somehow. I don't know.
Yeah. It also says the statute of limitations has expired for the theft itself, but prosecution could still occur for possession of stolen art. It's kind of weird that
What?
stealing it, the statute of limitations expired, but having it still, there we can, it's
So
like,
I bought this years ago. Y'all find out. Now I'm in trouble? Uh-uh.
yeah, and I didn't know it was stolen.
I didn't know it was stolen. I just liked the artwork and wanted to spend a good
Yeah,
penny on it. That's
yeah,
crazy.
but that one surprised me because it was, I mean, to me that's recent, right? That's quite a few years ago, but it's still, relatively recent. So the fact that I had never heard about it before I was, doing doing the research for this.
I think in art, like, museum break-in where you steal art, like that's very nichey. That's very movie. That's
Yeah,
very, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah. That one,
okay,
I want to see. Maybe somebody made a movie about it. I
paid
don't know. I would
actor.
like to see a movie about that one.
Yeah.
Both of the ones I have two. They're both unsolved. So if you
Yeah,
have any details on this, please report them to the FBI. And if you took the art, give it back.
that's
It
funny.
wasn't yours. Yeah, that one, like I said, being that it was the largest in history, I was just surprised. Like I had never heard of it before.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, I think it's probably well, the 90s. Eh,
Yeah,
if it's organized crime, they probably also don't want you to talk about it. You know, anything
true.
with organized crime, that could also be why they weren't caught. They work with the police,
Well, yeah, that's true.
allegedly.
That's
Um,
true. Allegedly.
so mine is also very nichey and fake and movie like, and it's a bank burglary. You know, we all love a good bank robbery. I don't feel like too many people rob banks anymore, thankfully. But
Yeah.
I think it's a little too difficult nowadays. But back in the day, criminals loved robbing banks. Like it was very like the come up way is robbing a
Yeah.
bank. Like now we just joke about doing it.
Yeah. It's like a cartoon thing that people do.
Yeah. Yeah, like okay, you're gonna go rob a bank. Okay. Way
Yeah.
easier ways to get money. Um, okay, so in 1972, United California bank burglary was in Laguna Niguel, California. It was a massive heist where a crew led by Ami Dincio stole millions in cash and valuables from safe deposit boxes, allegedly targeting money linked to President Richard Nixon.
Mm.
The thieves used explosives and a blowtorch, again, very movie, to get through the vault. Like explosives and a blowtorch. They had special effects.
I
and
know,
got away
right?
with it. That's really crazy.
Right?
Um, bypassing alarms and looted 458 boxes, making off with an estimated $12 million to $30 million, making it one of the biggest bank heists in U.S. history. While most of the crew was caught, the case remains famous for its scale and the rumored connection to Nixon.
Oh. Not
Um,
connection as in he did it, but because he had maybe money in that bank or
so
property in that bank.
it says that the crew believed President Nixon was storing illicit campaign contributions in a safe deposit box at the bank. Though they hit the wrong branch, Nixon was in San Clemente. So
That's funny.
that
That's
all that for
that
nothing.
I mean, they still got like what 12 to 30 million, right? But it
Yeah.
is funny that like again, that's a movie because it would be like, really you got the wrong branch. How did you not know which branch to go to,
I know, and they did so much too. So like
Yeah.
all that for what? I guess a couple million, but like you
Yeah.
also got caught. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there you go. There you
it
go.
did say so most of the crew was caught, but one member, Harry Barber, he evaded capture for 8
Wait,
years.
wait, wait. Can we go back to
I
Harry Bar?
hear it.
That
Yeah.
definitely sounds like a made up name, right?
That's
I mean,
Wait, this is a movie. This is hold on, this is a movie. I thought it was real. No.
Alyssa, did you verify these facts?
No, I did.
Did
I
you?
did.
Did
This
you?
is
Oh,
straight
okay,
from the internet. I'm
okay,
not
good,
using
good.
fun fact everybody, I'm not using ChatGPT at all today. So, because
Wow,
apparently people hate that. I don't know, but
good
I'm
for
doing
you.
real research. Okay. So, yeah, his name was Harry Barber. That's
Wow.
hilarious. Um
Well,
so
also,
he
though, wait a minute. If your last name's Barber and you have a baby, why do you name it Harry? That's a mean parent right there.
Yeah, because barbers were definitely a thing in the 70s, or
Yeah,
actually before the 70s, when
yeah.
he would have been born. Yeah, so he evaded capture for 8 years. Obviously, eventually got caught, and the FBI described this crew as quote the best ever.
Hmm.
Yeah, good
And
old
yet, and yet, they had the wrong branch.
the
So,
best ever, but they had the wrong branch, and they all still got caught. So
yeah,
looks
that's
like
true too.
they should have teamed
Well,
up with your art thieves, and they could have
yeah,
really done
that's right.
something.
I mean, I guess you could judge on the technique they used to get into the bank.
That does
Maybe
make them
that was,
impressive, yeah.
that was it. Yeah,
Explosives and a blowtorch. I don't know how that
yeah.
would open a safe, but yeah,
The vault. Yeah.
they got quite a
That.
lot.
Wow. Okay, so my second one is, and this is a little bit more famous one because I have heard about this one, but I didn't know a whole lot about it. Have you ever heard of the DB Cooper hijacking?
I don't think so.
Um, so this is a little older. This is like the time frame of the one you talked about. Uh, Portland, Oregon, November 24th, 1971. It was a man named Dan Cooper buys a one-way ticket for cash because back then you could buy a one-way ticket for cash and TSA would not look at you.
Wait, what do you mean a one-way ticket for cash?
Like he bought a one-way ticket on a flight and he paid cash. He didn't use a credit card or anything like that. But back then, probably not that unusual.
Oh,
Like
okay.
people would walk into an airport and say, I want a ticket to go to, Saskatchewan. And they'd give you a ticket. And they
Mm.
probably didn't require ID and all that kind of stuff back then either. So anyway, he boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a Boeing 727. And a little bit after takeoff, he hands a note to a flight attendant claiming he has a bomb.
My
Shows what
goodness.
appears to be a bomb, wires, cylinders, a battery, and he demands 200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes.
I'd be
Um,
like, where are we gonna get that? We're already in the
yeah, well,
air.
that's the first thought. Well, apparently it was a hijacking, so he had the plane land in Seattle at about 5:39 that day. Released the passengers, and they give him the ransom and the parachutes, and then the plane takes off again at around 7:40. He keeps several crew members on board, and he orders the flight to go toward Mexico City with refueling planned. But mid-flight at 8:13 p.m., the rear air stairs on the Boeing 727 are deployed, and the aircraft experiences a sudden pressure change, and he jumped. He jumped out of the plane. That's why he wanted the parachutes.
Why do you want so many parachutes if it was just him?
That I don't know. Maybe he took some. I don't know. Let's continue to read. Um, they say the jump occurred somewhere over southwestern Washington state. It was rainy, dark, and cold, and windy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He parachuted with the ransom money and one of the parachutes, so he left the other. Maybe he was, you know what? Maybe he was thinking, okay, I'm going to open the back of this plane while we're in flight. Maybe I need to leave some for the rest of the crew. In
Oh.
case something goes bad. Maybe he was being,
So he's
that
a
way.
thoughtful criminal because he also let all the guests get off as
Right.
well.
Right. Yeah, he
You
didn't
know,
keep them on.
kind of
Yeah.
inconsiderate because now they have to
Yeah.
get a new flight, but
Yeah.
thoughtful.
But they've never found him. The case was investigated by
What?
the Yeah, he was investigated under the FBI under the name Northwest Hijacking. Hundreds of suspects were investigated over decades. A clip-on tie was left on the plane. Parachutes used. Some recovered, some not. I don't know what that means. Maybe he just threw the other parachutes out. A child found 5,800 of the ransom money along the Columbia River.
I blew away.
Serial numbers match the ransom bills. So obviously they had all the serial numbers for the bills. And that's how you catch
What?
somebody like that, because if you go into, a bank
Oh,
to
right.
deposit it and they check the serial numbers and they're like, hey, these were the ones in that plane hijacking, they know it's you.
You're like, no, they're not.
Um, right. Yeah, because it says the ransom money consisted of $20 bills with recorded serial numbers. But
Dang.
this is the part that's crazy. No verified use of the ransom money has ever surfaced in circulation, like anywhere. So let's say he, I don't know, did something with it. I don't know. I can't even imagine. But it's crazy that it's never been found then. So what did he even do with the money?
Because he couldn't have spent it, I'm guessing. But I guess he could have, because if I go to like Target, Target's not like looking at the serial
True.
numbers.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
Like
good
if I
point.
go to a
Yeah, if he
restaurant
went
and I
to,
pay with my cash, like
yeah,
they're
that's
not
true.
verifying the
That's true. It
serial
would only
numbers.
be if he went and, you know, but no, but here's the thing though. At some point, if
Especially
he used
back
it at a
then.
store, at some point, if he used it at a store, it would end up in a bank. I would assume in a bank is where it would be caught. You see what I'm saying? Where they would recognize that, oh, we have those serial numbers.
Yeah, but then if he's, bouncing all over the place.
Yeah. But he didn't get that much money. Only 200,000. I mean, compared to these other crimes, 500 million, you had 12 to 30 million. I forget how much your first one was. He got caught. He didn't. Oh, excuse me. I'm about to yawn. He didn't get to keep any of his because he got caught. So
That's really crazy.
yeah, yeah,
He never
yeah.
got caught, so he
That
just
one.
lived his whole life. They don't know
Yeah,
who it was.
they have no idea who it was. There was.
That's so
did you watch
crazy.
the did you watch the Loki series on Disney Plus? Loki?
No. Mm-mm.
No.
No.
There was part of that series where they made it that he was actually DB Cooper. Loki was DB Cooper, and it was done. He did it on a bet from Thor, or he lost a bet to Thor or something like that and did it.
I should watch that series, actually. They might have given
I,
me a
I
new series.
yeah, I highly recommend. There's only 2 seasons of it, but I highly recommend it. It was very good.
Um, wow, that's crazy. I actually, I don't want to say I applaud any criminals, but the ones that are able to like do something like that and just flee and get away with it forever is just really Crazy.
I don't applaud it, but I do respect it. How's that?
Right.
I
Wait,
don't
what?
recommend it,
I don't
but I
recommend
do
it, yeah.
I respect the skill. How's
Here at
that?
the INM podcast,
Yeah.
we don't what is it called? We forbid any
Condone?
criminal activity.
Condone?
Yeah, we don't
Yeah, we
condone
do
criminal
not
activity.
condone criminal activity.
Um, okay. So mine was actually like they did a Netflix series on it, and I'll save my opinions to the end. I'll save my opinions to the end. Okay, I'm talking about
Okay.
the Tinder swindler is his name. Uh, so let me go down to okay. So it's about an Israeli man. He is born Shimon Hayut. He traveled around Europe presenting himself as the son of Israeli diamond mogul Lev Leviv. What a name.
Right?
He used the
That's not
dating
as good a name as Harry Barber, though.
not as good as Harry Barber. Uh, he used I mean I guess like he was born Harold Barber, nickname
Yeah.
Harry,
Yeah,
you know.
but they knew he'd be
But
called
they knew
Harry.
he'd be called Harry, yeah. Okay. So he used the dating app Tinder to contact women and trick them into lending him money that he would never repay. He would charm women with lavish gifts and take them to dinners on private jets using money he obtained from other women he had previously conned. He would later pretend he was being targeted by his, quote, enemies, often sending the same messages and images to each woman, indicating that he had just been attacked with a knife, but that his bodyguard had saved him and was hurt. He then asked his victims to help him financially due to the breach of security, supposedly hindering his use of his credit cards and his bank accounts. The women would often take out bank loans and new credit cards in order to help him, which is just really crazy because I just can never imagine myself ever doing that. But,
Yeah.
I guess we're all just different, you
Yeah,
know?
it's like a lot of those cases though. Like I feel like every 6 months there's one on the local news where it's like some older woman who got scammed by somebody that they met online who said, "Oh, I'd really like to come and meet you, but
Yeah,
or whatever, they come up with some reason that, oh, if you could just send me the money, then I can come there and,
right.
and it'll help me get my inheritance out and then I can pay you right back, and they convince these people of that kind of stuff. It's just yikes.
So it says later he would pretend to repay his victims by sending forged documents showing fake bank transfers and then break off contact with the victims. Sometimes he would go as far as threaten them and use manipulation to get more money from his victims. It's estimated that he swindled 10 million from people across the world.
Wow.
Um
Wow.
yeah, so here's my cuz I'm pretty sure he did end up getting arrested, but yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he got arrested because that was like a whole thing. And I just have to ask you, like, do you think that that's worth getting? Like, do you think that he should get arrested for that? Because I'll give you my opinion after I hear yours.
Well, I mean, so yes, I do because I mean, well, yes. Well,
Okay,
this is kind of hard, right? Because you're convincing someone of something that's not true. So it is fraud, right? It's fraudulent in the first
right,
place. But it's that personal fraud where it's like you're it's I think it's funny that the whole thing is like a Ponzi scheme where he's using money from
that's
the
what it.
new victims to pay back the old victims. It's like a dating Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, that's what they
Um
called it.
but yeah, that part of it to me is just Like
I
kind
don't
of wild.
personally, I don't think it's a like jailable offense in my opinion. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you why. Because you know, it is it crappy what he did? 1,000%. a thousand
Right.
percent douchebag. But it's not his fault that these women believed him and sent him money. You
Yeah.
as a woman, like especially, you don't need to be sending this man money.
Yeah.
You don't need to
Yeah,
be
that's
sending
true.
him money because his bodyguard got shot and like did this whole thing and whatever. That is not your responsibility. So if
Yeah.
you're taking out, I would never ever take out a loan or a new credit card for this man I barely know just because he took me on a jet. Like, come on, girl. If he's taking you on a
Yeah.
jet into these fancy dinners, trust me, he probably has money in different places if he really has it like that. He does not
Yeah.
need your money.
Well,
Like,
see,
he doesn't need you
here's
to
the
take
other
out a
side of
loan and
it.
a credit card.
Here's the other side of it too. It's like if he was swindling like multiple women and just piling that money up, and he was, setting himself up, but he was using the money from the new victims to pay the old victims back.
Yeah.
So maybe there was remorse there. I don't know. I don't know if you'd call that remorse, but it was like I think he just got himself in too deep. I think that's what it is. Like he was, he didn't know how to control himself, and he got in too deep. And before he
Yeah.
knew it, I did find something that says he was convicted in 2010s. He was convicted or conducted scams across Europe. In
Mhm.
2015, he was convicted in Finland for fraud related crimes, probably related to that.
Yeah.
In 2017, he was arrested in Greece for using a fake passport. In 2019, he was arrested in Israel after being extradited. In 2020, he was sentenced in Israel to 15 months in prison for fraud unrelated to most of the Tinder scams. So not only did he have the
Okay.
dating scams going on, he had whole other fraud scams
He
going on,
was
which
just
makes sense.
a
Yeah,
whole scammer. He was just a
yeah,
scammer.
yeah. I wonder what would they would put on his death certificate as his as his occupation. Also,
Tinder
why do they
switch
need to put that on your death certificate? Why do they need to put what your occupation was?
occupation. Right.
Like, why is that
That's
important after you die?
why
It's not.
is that important? Y'all don't need to
In
put my
2020,
dad. Like I just
uh,
have my all like a billion jobs that I've always worked.
yeah,
Cause like, are we talking about my
good.
most recent job
Yeah,
occupation or like you know
yeah. I used to work as a paper boy back in the day when papers were a thing.
yeah former
20,
paper
20
boy.
After 5 months, he was released for good behavior.
I
So
love that.
he didn't commit any dating scams while he was in prison, so
Well,
they let him out. I don't.
even though, which is, you know what, actually growth because they do have dating sites. Have you ever seen that? Like they have dating sites for people in jail. So have you ever
Yeah.
seen oh my gosh, what is it? That locked up show?
Oh, I mean, I know it
What's
exists.
it
I've never watched
called?
it.
It's like basically about people who date people who are in jail and like they
Yeah.
get out eventually. I can't remember the name of it, but they meet a lot of people meet those people because there's basically dating apps that like a regular person like you and I on the outside can go to and people in jail are able to go on these dating apps, these jail dating apps where they can like it's a dating site for you to
That's
meet people in
crazy.
jail and
I feel like most dating sites you're avoiding the people in jail. you know, why are there specific ones for the people who want to find people in jail? It's
yeah,
a little
yeah.
wild.
So it'll be like
Are you
someone dating,
like?
yeah.
Also, what does the search look like? Like, I'm looking for somebody who's
Oh, like the
doing 10 to
criteria.
20 for nonviolent crimes.
I want someone who's gonna be out at least within the next 3 years, preferably.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
Right.
not. Maybe,
Oh
it's
no.
like, yeah, I'm dating them, but they're in prison,
I
so I don't
just want
really,
a pen
I don't
pal.
have
I
to deal.
don't
Yeah.
actually, yeah. I don't need to clean up
Yeah.
after you ever,
I just
actually.
honestly, I just want to be able to say that I have a significant other, but they don't need to be around. That
That's so funny. Yeah. So,
is wild.
hey,
Yeah, these were fun. I'm
that's a
trying to think. I had some others that I didn't really do the research on. Let me see if
yeah.
there's any of those that are funny. DB Cooper.
You know what
Uh,
other ones I thought were interesting that maybe we could like do a
oh,
whole deep dive podcast on one time is what's that jail that's closed now? Guantanamo Bay? Like a
oh,
deep dive. We should do a deep dive on like the criminals who have escaped Guantanamo Bay cuz
oh, that'd be
I've seen
good.
like
I thought you
TikToks
were gonna
about that stuff
say,
before.
yeah, I thought you were gonna say Alcatraz when you
Oh,
said
it's
that
Alcatraz.
prison.
It is Alcatraz. Yeah, it is
Okay,
Alcatraz.
yeah,
Yeah, Alcatraz.
yeah, they made a movie about that called The Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is that
it was a fictional movie. It wasn't a
no, like
factual one.
I saw TikToks about people that have tried to escape or have escaped Alcatraz, like literally jumped in the water and then like disappeared forever. Like
Oh, well,
you never saw. Yeah, we should do a deep dive on
yeah,
those.
yeah. That would be good. Yeah,
Unless you guys hate that idea and then let us know and I won't do it. I'll do it on
yeah,
my own time. We'll just do it privately on our after show.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. We'll just talk about that later on the phone, and we won't even
Yeah.
record it.
We won't even bring it to your guys' attention if you don't want that.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, I hope you guys like this episode little different than our normal one. We'll probably get back to our normal true crime episode next week.
Yep.
And I don't know, we'll talk about something else on Tuesday. And
Yep.
maybe we'll put up for a vote what our new name. Have you looked into new podcast names at all?
I have not, but
I I spent a little time on it and I didn't find anything I liked, so we're sticking with it for now.
we'll find something.
I don't know if you can hear that, but our Google is responding in the background. I didn't
Oh.
ask it anything, so
Oh, okay. Maybe Google is trying to give the input. Oh, yeah, she's going in.
yeah, I, I did not say that word, which it's always so weird to me when it triggers when I did not say that word. I
That
get it when I'm
happened.
saying
Yeah.
your name and the other smart
The
device
Amazon
triggers. I
one.
totally get that.
Yeah.
But when I'm not saying anything that sounds like that one's name, you know,
I was
I
watching
just want to be
a
able to call one of them Jarvis.
I was watching one of my like YouTube videos the one day I think it was, and they were talking to their SIRI, and they said the name, and mine lit up, and I was like, "We're watching a YouTube video series, like."
But just pause one sec. Actually, let's just say goodbye to the listeners because this isn't good for them listening to my device in the background talking to us. So we will talk to you on Tuesday. Thanks for checking us out, guys.
Bye, everybody.